What is up, guys? ABQ Business Podcast, Jason Rigby here. Want to talk to you about some relationship questions. Yeah, this can help you in your personal relationships, but this can also help you when you're coaching and leading others. One of the things I want to talk about, I think first of all, and I'm going to get right to the list that I have here, is listening more. Everyone wants you to listen to them. After all, we're all narcissistic, right? We all think of ourselves first. We're all ego-based. We all have fight or flight. So as a leader, why would you not listen instead of make it all about you and know that they're not listening to you? You distinguish yourself as a leader just by listening, because the average person does not listen. If you want to have a great relationship, listen more. Next is not judging and looking at others with compassion. We instantly see a problem in our business with our team, and we make a quick assumption. And we all know what assumptions are. They make an ass out of you and me, right? That assumption is not based on reality. Let me explain. Their reality is their reality. You have no idea what they've gone through to make that decision. It is your responsibility to listen more, have compassion, to understand their reality. That is the key to great leadership, is understanding a person's reality and not judging. Because when you judge, you cut all of that off instantly. Any type of communication is out the window because you're going to voice to them in anger a lot of times. Like I said, whether this is a relationship or whether this is an employee, it's all the same. You're communicating with others. You're going to instantly share your bias and judgment. What if you're wrong? You don't know the reality. You don't know what's going on in their head. And then having compassion. Come on. You don't know what they've gone through. You have no idea what is going on in their head. You have no idea what has happened to them in the last 24 hours until you ask. Number 3, handling conflict better. You have to work on not to allow emotions. If you study neuroscience, this will help you guys. Study neuroscience. Understand what your brain is doing. It's very, very simple. You can hop on YouTube and look up Andrew Huberman, Huberman Labs. Very, very interesting. He has a lot of podcasts on emotions and what happens in your brain. It's a lot simpler than you think. You're being reactive and controlled by your emotions instead of being proactive and understanding what your brain is doing. The minute you can be self-aware enough to understand what is going on in your head is the minute that you take that next level in leadership. Number 4, validate the importance of another person's feelings. They may not be self-aware enough to understand. They may be reacting off of their feelings. Validate that to them. I understand how you're feeling about this situation. Help me understand it more. Jim, I know you've been really emotional about this and you've been what I perceive as being negative, and that's just me as a leader. I don't know what's going on in your head, but I would love to be able to know, why are you perceiving this decision as negative? Can you please explain that to me? I want to understand where you're at. I value you as an employee and I appreciate your feedback, and I really want to understand. Approach that. Go in that direction. Number 5, let go of toxic thoughts, not just about you, but about others. As a leader, we have they said there's like 60,000 thoughts a day, and 50,000 of them are negative. Think about that. 10,000 thoughts are positive, the rest are negative. These toxic thoughts are just constantly going on in your head. You will never succeed as a leader until you understand that your ego is there to protect you to a fault. It will cause you to hide in your bed all day long and do nothing. It does not like risk. It does not like relationships. It does not like anything that could be perceived as a threat. So that toxic thought is just ego. You have to be aware enough to know and say, oh, This is what I do. Oh, this is toxic thought. That's not real. Next, not even going to entertain that. Number 6, old negative labels. If you come into a leadership position, into a business, and you allow other people to come in and bring their old negative labels about the position and about what has been happening in the company and how it's always been, you will never be a change agent. You never will. You have to understand that old negative labels were in the past. And the past is a creation and a manifestation of other people's thoughts. It is not reality. They have no idea about the past. And the past is, it's so construed, guys. You know this. We romanticize the past sometimes. Sometimes we make it better. It's like an old relationship. You start thinking about it. You think about all the great moments. And then you realize, well, there's a reason why I broke up with them. And then you think about the negative stuff and you're like, holy shit. Old negative labels, when it comes to you as leadership, should not be allowed. Don't allow other people to say this is how it's always been. Next, practice trust. Notice I use the word practice. This takes practice as a leader. You're like, well, I don't have faith enough to trust people. You have to practice it. Allow people to take responsibility. And then you allow them to take responsibility, they will earn your trust over time by their actions. If their actions don't align with the company, if their actions don't align with you as a leader, you need to coach them. If they still won't respond to that, you need to fire them. It's that simple. Practice trust. Trust will allow you to decipher those that are underneath you. If you want to say that underneath you, I don't like using that word because we're all a team, we're all one. But those that you lead, if you practice trust, it will weed out all kinds of bullshit. Next, reinforce your commitment daily. When you wake up in the morning, reinforce your commitment to the relationships that you're in. Reinforce your commitment to the work that you're at. If you can't, you need to get out and be done and go find another position. Go start another company. If you can't wake up in the morning and reinforce the commitment and say, today is the day that I'm going to do this. Today is the day that no matter how I feel, this is what I'm going to do because other people's lives, other people's incomes, other people's families depend on me as a leader, and I need to appear at my best. I may not feel that way, but I guarantee you, if you put some motivational shit on from YouTube or whatever, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast on, some motivational stuff, and you play that on the way to work, instead of just sit there and reiterate these old negative labels and toxic thoughts, guess what's going to happen? You're going to step into the door super motivated. Reinforce your commitment daily. Next, no exit language. I hear this all the time. Leaders like to play victim. So they like to get those that they're coaching and those that they're around. They like to, I'm so frustrated with this. I can't believe it. Maybe I should just quit, or I can't believe that this boss is doing this. And they let their subordinates know. There's no cohesive. How are you going to establish trust, guys? You can't. Stop playing the victim. That's narcissistic to put it all on you. It has nothing to do with you as a leader. No exit language. In your relationships, tell your spouse that. Tell your partner that. Tell those that you love. There's no exit language. We're not going to talk about leaving. We're not going to talk about any of that. We can have an argument, but in that argument, there's no exit language. It's powerful, guys. It's way more powerful than you think. Next, no absolute language. You've always done this. I can't believe you're doing this. Your employees don't need you to sit on a big gold throne with a big beard and play God and tell them what they're doing and not doing. They already know. They're already being guilty and feeling shitty among themselves. They don't need you to reinforce that. They need you to believe the best in them, to inspire them, guys. Sorry, guys, I have a little bit of a cold, but I want to get this podcast anyway. So excuse the coughing, hacking, and all that. No absolute language. Next, stop lecturing people. No one wants to hear a 5 or 10 minute speech about how great you are and how shitty they are. Don't lecture people. And don't use your leadership as an ego mask to condemn people. I see ego masks all the time. Spiritual people do this. Oh my God, I had to go to Sedona and, I went into a crystal shop and that's all cool. Sedona's great. Crystals are great. All those things are great. But don't have your ego where you have to tell everybody how spiritual you are. Don't use your ego that you have to tell everybody that you're the leader and your title and you're just so, titles don't mean anything. I've walked into so many business and seen other people leading that don't even have a title. They're the ones that are actually in control. They have the power. They're the one that moved the needle in the company. To stop using this ego mask, it benefits no one. It doesn't even benefit you because you're playing. You're playing a game that's not real. Next, openness and curiosity. Without assumptions and judgments, when you inquire about things and you ask and people can feel that you're not assuming or judging anything, you're just open and curious, they will open up to you so quickly. You want to know the truth? Approach that with humbleness. Go to someone and say, I don't understand how this is working, or I've tried to figure it out. I've talked to several people. Can you explain this to me? I'm not judging or anything. I just want to know, how is this working? They're going to be honest with you. Next and last one is encourage your personal growth. Encourage yourself. Love yourself. I know as entrepreneurs, and I heard this quote the other day, and it's been fucking with me ever since, and I really have to work on this. I think Dr. Joe Dispenza said this. He said, what got you there is not going to get you to the next level. That's been hurting me. I've been thinking about it daily because my ego that has gotten me to where I've been successful is not going to take me to the next level. I have to mature. I have to grow. I have to be a better leader. It's not only important to me in my lifestyle, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's important to those that I serve. And I don't want to just encourage my personal growth, but I want to encourage every employee. I want to ask them, how's your personal growth going?
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.